Hello, my friends. I would like to begin my talk today with my spiritual vision. When I was a 12 years old kid, my grandpa Joseph, the man I loved very much, died. And after his funeral, as I was laying in my bed, ready to close my eyes, ready to sleep, I saw my grandpa Joseph flying to me through the air and talking to me, trying to tell me something. At first I was looking at him and I couldn't understand a word, but I was not really afraid of it. And my grandpa, as he was flying to me after his funeral in this vision, he looked into my eyes and he understood that I couldn't comprehend the message, that I couldn't hear anything of that talk. So my grandpa began to scream. Wah, 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 wah. He was really screaming and I still couldn't hear a word. But at that moment, I became really afraid, so I began to scream. My grandma came to my bedroom. She gently touched my shoulder, and my grandpa, Joseph, disappeared. Years after, I would say several years after, I really understood what I experienced. Because when that thing was happening to me, I couldn't hear anything. Several years after, I had this one day in my life, this day of enlightenment. In 1 second, that's really true, I understood everything. And I understood that the first part of this talk of my grandpa Joseph was, there is no death. There is no death. Do not be afraid. Physical death does not exist. It was his talk. There is a life after your physical death. So he was repeating to me, there is no death, there is no death. Then, when he understood that I didn't hear him, he began to scream, but those screams were different. In those screams, he was expressing his uncertainty about his spiritual existence. It was like telling me, I am not sure how long I can exist spiritually. I am not sure if I am really eternal or immortal. So this was a twofold message. Physical death is only an experience, and immortality is not certain. And that's what I wanna talk about today. I wanna talk about immortality. Immortality. What it really is. Let me begin with this very simple statement. Whatever has a beginning may have an ending always. And what God created may be taken away from the creation, may be dissolved into elements. So whatever God has called into existence, he can also declare shall exist no longer. From that viewpoint, and here is my main point today, we should understand that our human soul, our being, is not automatically immortal. At the moment of conception, when you received your human soul, you received also a potential in the soul of being immortal. Not actuality, not eternity, but a potential to develop yourself towards immortality. We should first establish what is really immortal And when we know it, we can connect to this immortal substance and make it a part of our life. And thus, we can become immortal. And it really happens that, in my opinion, only God is immortal, surely immortal. And all his beautiful substances like love, truth, God's beauty, God's wisdom, God's joy, God's nature. So if those substances can become a part of human soul, our soul becomes automatically immortal. How to obtain them? Through prayer. If we genuinely pray, if we truly desire, long for God's truth, God's wisdom, God's love, then God graces us with those parts of his life, and those parts that are in us cannot be destroyed ever. This is the process of becoming immortal. And that's also a traditional, I would say, scholastic theology that teaches us that we are like gods by participation, not by nature, because by nature we are human beings, we have human nature. But by participation in God's life, we can be divine, like God, eternal. What happens to our human nature in the process is nothing to be worried about, because human nature is not destroyed really. Human nature is elevated, is enhanced to the highest degree possible. Human nature, in the process of receiving those divine substances from God, is complete, is fulfilled. So we are human beings still, yet we are celestial human beings, eternal human beings, immortal human beings. Those beautiful substances that come to us from God, they all have their colors, they have their measurements, shapes, they have their scent even. They are very real. I'm telling you all of that because I want you to have this incentive, this kick in yourselves to go there, to connect to God. That's a beautiful experience, to receive those beautiful, phenomenal God's substances into your being that can never be destroyed. When I was a young child, I had this custom of praying, usually when I was in the park. I was simply mumbling my prayers to God like every kid, trying to sing to him, blah, 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 la, la, la. And it was really like that. I was walking through the park, all happy, 7-year-old child. And it happened to me many times when I was praying like that I had this scent of flowers out of nowhere surrounding me. Especially it was, pretty surprising to experience that in winter. Because, imagine praying in winter, you are in the park in winter, everything is white around you. 200 yards in front of you, 200 yards behind you, snow, nothing else. No green color at all. And then you mumble something to God, and you can smell this beautiful thing, the scent of roses and all flowers out of nowhere. I remember I was looking at my shoes, thinking that my shoes were smelly. So I really believe that it was a higher celestial being trying to just show me the beauty of the celestial life and how it really is. This is how it feels really when God communicates those beautiful things and you are becoming immortal in this experience. Believe me, anytime you connect to God and God begins to transfer to your being something of His life, some kind of God's understanding, God's feeling, God's quality of life, you are automatically immortal. But still remember that, at the moment of conception, we receive souls with the potential of being immortal. So engage this relationship. Be open and be happy that you can go there. Connect to your Creator. May God bless you, and may God, with His presence, make you immortal, and may our friendship last forever. May you be my friends, you who listen to me, forever in the celestial kingdom of our God, our Creator. Thank you very much for today. May God bless you. See you next time. Bye.